Hey, everybody. Welcome to Game Mess Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from giantbomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about whether or not Microsoft is giving up on Xbox hardware, and Ghost of Yotei shows that gamers will still show up for a big console exclusive. It's going to be a good one because we have Jason Fanelli on the show. Jason, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Feeling a little sad about my sports teams. They kind of let me down this weekend, but I didn't think the Eagles were going to go 16-0, and hopefully that loss will be a nice punch in the mouth. Phillies, on the other hand, I kind of need the top of my order to go better than 1 for 13. Need a little more production out of them, but I'm playing a trump card tonight. My wife and I are undefeated when we attend games, and I know my wife is not watching this, so I can say this. We are attending tonight, and she does not know.
Oh, that's fun.
She's not going to find out until she gets home from work. I have her Harper jersey over the chair. I have a piece of paper that says suit up with the ticket information. Babysitters are already taken care of.
Wow.
We're going to go down there. We're going to go down there and yell. I kind of wish I'd be on the show on Wednesday so you can hear me like this 2 days later. But yeah, we're going to do that, and we're going to cheer for him, and hopefully our magic will make this 1-1, and we'll go back to LA tied 1-1 instead of down 0-2. Because if we go down 0-2, it's over. It's just flat over. Tigers got to win though.
Rough.
Tigers stole a win in Seattle. That's nice.
Yeah, we still win, but we're not hitting either. RISP, runners in stranding position. We just strand them out there. It's bad.
Yes.
We won the game we weren't supposed to win, and then Scooble goes out and pitches pretty great, but he led 2 homers from Polanco. So we lost that one, the one we were definitely supposed to win. So that's like, and again, I always say we as the fandom, everybody. I know I'm not on the team. It just makes it easier when we're discussing these things. And it's like, oh, okay. So we'll see it. Like 1-1 back to Detroit. I'll take it. But yeah, and then the Lions are playing really great, and but they also they're winning, and they're kind of like learning their lesson. Like they still aren't playing perfect, and it's like that's the scenario you want from your football team, because it's like every lose any, you want them to kind of keep getting better. So kind of pick up here. We'll stitch that in. I want the Lions to just keep getting better. The Eagles had to lose a game, Jason.
We did.
And like, because it's like, they're trending still in the right direction. You could tell that they're trying to get it together. Lose this one and get it out of the way, and then come back and like be angry about it. And that team's going to be something to reckon with the rest of the season.
Only fear is that we have a quick turnaround. We have the Giants on Thursday night.
Yeah,
that's my only fear. Other than that, yeah, I agree with you.
All right, we should explain what we do here. We're Giant Bomb Video Game Doofuses, independent games media. We're out here on our own. We wouldn't have it any other way because we have you at our backs supporting us by going to giantbomb.com/join and becoming premium members. So many of you have already done this. We love it. It really goes a long way, makes a huge difference, enables us and empowers us to keep doing cool stuff. Anyone else wants to join and help us out, we would really appreciate that. Again, that's giantbomb.com/join to become a premium member. If any hardships, any reasons you guys can't do that right now, we get it. Don't do it if you cannot. Please just tell a friend. That also goes a long way. We really appreciate that as well. As far as this show goes, most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings, or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Xbox still swears it's not giving up on consoles as fan morale craters. This is from Ethan Gotch at Kotaku. Amid fears that unpopular Game Pass price hikes marked the latest blow to Microsoft's console gaming ambitions, the tech giant claims its next-gen hardware plans remain unchanged. The next Xbox might be more PC-like than ever, but there will be one. We are actively investing in our future first-party consoles and devices designed, engineered, and built by Xbox, the company wrote in a statement to Windows Central. For more details, the community can revisit our agreement announcement with AMD. That last part references an announcement Microsoft made over the summer for a multi-year partnership to co-engineer silicon across a portfolio of devices, including living room consoles and PC gaming handhelds. Together with AMD, we're advancing the state of art in gaming silicon to deliver the next generation of graphics innovation to unlock a deeper level of visual quality and immersive gameplay and player experiences enhanced with the power of AI, all while maintaining compatibility with our existing library of games, Xbox President Sarah Bond said at the time. Of course, Mr. Fanelli, this all comes as, this statement, separate from the AMD statement, which did happen a few weeks ago, comes as a little bit of a surprise that Microsoft felt compelled to do this, but things were getting rough out there in terms of that fan morale and sort of the analysis. And a lot of people who kind of know what they're talking about were like, yeah, it sounds shakier than ever about Microsoft coming back and doing another round of consoles. And all of that's because those price increases did happen. And it was very easy, I think, for a lot of people to believe when they heard the rumor. I think it started on Reset. I think it started on NeoGAF, actually. And then I think Tom Warren on a podcast sort of reiterated, maybe there's something to that Xbox was pulling back on whatever plans they had for next gen hardware under the Xbox label. Obviously, if they have this deal with AMD, that could take many forms. But I do think part of the story here is it was very easy for people to believe that because everything Xbox is doing screams, God, we're going to sell Call of Duty and Minecraft, and everything else is an afterthought, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's basically what the gist that we're getting. And then, the Game Pass fiasco on top of it. You can understand why morale is in the toilet at the moment. And as somebody points out in chat, the fact they had to come out and say this, just say, hey, we're still doing this, don't worry, is itself a red flag. I am not, it's so weird. It's so weird if you think even, pandemic times, how confident I was in Xbox at the time.
Yeah.
Series X was coming out. They started that one showcase had a lot of first party games, some of which still aren't out. Looking at you, Fable. And now it's like you said, Call of Duty, Minecraft, maybe the occasional other big ticket game as it comes up. And then the rest of it, hey, whatever happens, happens. Right. It's so strange that everything's an Xbox Game Pass strategy has now turned into your most ardent supporters not knowing if they're going to have a console next generation. And even if they are, what that looks like. Are you going to try for a Switch situation where the thing come off the dock and it's all in the handheld? Like maybe just make a base for a ROG Ally? Is that what you're going to do? Or is it going to be like a new Xbox like we've been used to since you started making the first ones in 2001? It's just a weird time to be an Xbox fan. It's super weird. I mean, it's weird to be a fan of PlayStation 2 in a way, just because you don't know where their first party games are. They're slowly starting to come out a little bit. We'll talk about the most recent big one in our next story. Nintendo fans, they know what they're getting. They just kind of deal with it at this point. But Xbox, they're in this weird limbo. It's weird, like, what do you have for me besides these two moneymakers that you had to purchase to bring into your portfolio? You didn't make Minecraft, you bought Mojang. You didn't make Call of Duty, you bought Activision. Is that what we have to expect now? You're just going to buy your hits and put them under your portfolio? Or are you going to start giving us the franchises that we know we like from you? Your Rare games, your Halo. Where the hell's Halo? I mentioned Fable earlier. Like, what's going on here? Now, they did say Halo next from Halo Studios is being announced soon. I do remember that. So maybe there's a light in the tunnel there. But other than that, like, and the Costco thing, which I didn't have a chance to talk to you about yet, but when Costco drops your console, that's not nothing. People might not see Costco as ubiquitous as like an Albertsons or Acme, depending on where you live, or like a Walmart or something like that. But it's still a pretty big chain. And for them to no longer carry your consoles for reasons that still haven't really been explained, have they?
I mean, we haven't got an exact like statement of why this happened, although it happened around the second price increase. So I think Costco's like, this thing already wasn't selling. This has now crossed a line on our spreadsheet. It's like, this is not worth carrying anymore. That would be my guess. Could be something else, but I think it's all related to the price increases.
To adapt a famous saying, something's rotten in Redmond, and they haven't. And they know, they either know and aren't saying it, or don't know because they haven't figured it out yet. Something is up at Xbox, and I hope they can figure it out, whatever that is.
Yeah, part of the the rumor that kicked this off was also claims that Microsoft is going to be doubling down on their most profitable, most successful franchises, and none of that's being refuted. I think not that they necessarily would, but I just think they won't, because it's almost certainly true that they are going to focus less on anything that feels out there like a risk. It's just going to be the stuff that has been a reliable moneymaker, the Forza Horizons and above, like Forza Horizon, Call of Duty, Minecraft, Candy Crush, a handful of other things, and then anything beyond that's going to be very hard for it to get the green light. And if it has got the green light, and if it's not like near completion, like let's say a Fable, if it has any sort of troubled development, they'll just cancel it, like a Perfect Dark. And it's like, whether or not there's a next gen Xbox, and again, you touched on this a little bit. We'll talk about it again here in a second. Like, what does that actually look like? Regardless of that, it's like, yeah, this is still a shifting, changing Microsoft, and if they are putting out games that you still like, great. It's just obvious that this is not the company that might have felt like, I know it's weird, it's Microsoft, but felt like they were the scrappy, hey, we're going to come in here and try some new stuff, little bit of an underdog in the video game space that they were maybe when they were doing the Xbox One and starting up Game Pass, and that felt like, okay, this is interesting. It's at least different and worth talking about and worth paying attention to. All of that's over with now. Yes. This next gen Xbox that they are, or the next gen chipset that they're working on with AMD, that could easily end up just being a reference model. That could be like, hey, we're going to make something similar to like our Microsoft Surface, but for Xbox, and this is one type of thing, and then we're going to work with Asus and a bunch of other third parties, and they're going to put out this PC console experience with an OS that we do develop. That is our focus. That is what the Xbox is now, is this OS that goes onto all this other hardware, whether that's a handheld or a PC from Asus or a PC from Xbox, whatever it is. It's like, that shift might have already been started. So it's like, yeah, we're going to do that because that is the shifting strategy to deal with all these problems that we've already encountered here. And we're still going to have to see how that goes in terms of delivering. Like, does that still deliver a compelling gaming experience that feels self-contained and gives the console people what they want? I guess even if it doesn't, it's not like people will feel like they're getting that out of the Xbox right now. Right. I think playing games on an Xbox is just fine, but people buy these systems for a bunch of reasons, usually because their friends are playing there and exclusives. And who's going to be the asshole in their friend group that tries to talk their friends and get into getting an Xbox when it's like, who knows what the future of that really is? And then all those games are available in other places. And Microsoft doesn't, again, that's not like Microsoft being, oh no, you're buying our games on PC. They're happy with that. But I don't think any of this is leading to something that I enjoy from gaming, which is big companies spending a lot of money to make a lot of cool games. That feels like I'm not going to be getting that out of Xbox. So I continue to be like, oh, this stinks.
Yeah. Thank God for indies, right? If indies are where you're getting the cool games that you used to get from the AAAs. And part of the appeal of consoles to begin with is they allow for a comparable, I'm not going to say it's the same because PCs are always more powerful, a comparable experience in a standalone device that is strictly for gaming. With these price hikes, you don't have that anymore. So pivoting into more of a PC environment with their own Windows OS, I see why they're doing it, but it's not going to go well for the layman who only wants to buy an Xbox for his Maddens, his Call of Duties, and his Minecraft, or not Minecraft, but the seasonal games that they always play. It's not, I don't, maybe there's something the bean counters know that I don't. I don't see it. I don't see this strategy panning out the way they want it to. I don't know that the handheld PC is going to go the way they want it to, strictly on sticker shock alone. $999 for the X, the more powerful of the two, is tough. $550 is better, but still not great. That would make it the cheapest Xbox product, right? The handheld ROG Ally non-X or whatever the name is now cheaper than a Series S and cheaper than a Series X. That's your access point?
Yeah. How much is the Series S right now?
Is it? It's comparable, if not.
Yeah, it's
I think it's right around that 550.
Yeah, it started at 300. So God, I'd have to double check, but yeah, you're right. It's comparable for sure.
But I don't see it. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it is worth pointing out every time we have this conversation. That what is it? I'm sorry.
400, 399.
Okay. It's worth pointing out every time we have this conversation that there are macroeconomic reasons that these prices keep going up from a company like Microsoft. So tariffs are real, and they are about to get worse. About to get worse. Now, here's my frustration, Jason, is that we come on this show, and I've explained that for months when it was first happening. I was explaining it like every week, kind of getting people up to speed of like, here's what you need to understand. I'm someone who generally very much dislikes tariffs because once we get them, they don't go away, and they're stupid. They're bad. They're just straight up bad for the most part. They're very specific times. Very targeted tariffs make some sense, but if I'm given the option of using tariffs to protect, say, the electric vehicle industry in the United States versus subsidizing that industry, I'm going to go with subsidizing. Let's just flood money in the zone and see what we can do. That's me. I get frustrated that, okay, tariffs are the reason you are doing this. Say that. Yeah, why won't they say it? Yeah. Why do I have to come on this show and like help pull people by the hand and like hey everyone, look, yeah, tariffs happen. Why won't Phil Spencer go out and say it's because of tariffs? Because they're cowards. Because they don't want to get targeted by this government. And I'm done with it. This sucks. You have the money and the power and the platform to do something about this, to stand up a little bit. We're all going to have to pay for it. And you won't say it. You won't even come out and just gesture toward it. You say macroeconomic. You don't ever point the finger at the thing that we all do agree is the likeliest reason that this is happening. Yep. I'm sick of these cowards. I'm sick of these rich people getting to sit over here and be like, well, let's look at the map. We could just charge more, get more from our customers. And then if these tariffs go away, we'll just keep the prices here and then we get the windfall. Fucking cowards. It's driving me insane. So I'm done with a lot of these people. And if they can't just come into this battle and say what's going on, and I get it. You don't want to lose your government contracts. You don't want to lose your military contracts. You don't want to get blocked from mergers and acquisitions. Okay, you're a coward. Fine. Yeah. I get what's happening here. Tariffs, whatever. Really, the problem is at some point, someone's going to have to stand up and do something. Obviously, it's not going to be the rich people, but it should be because they have the power to at least do something. We're going to keep ending up here otherwise.
I would just like to point out that now I know how you feel when Roblox comes up on this show. And,
sorry to scare you.
I am affecting you in a positive way, I think.
Yes.
It's a good thing. Get it out of there.
You're a goddamn inspiration is what I think. Ghost of Yotei crushes at retail in the United Kingdom. This is from Chris String on Twitter, who does a good job of keeping track of this. There's a group kind of like Circana/MPD in North America, in the United States, I should say, that does this for just retail in the UK. And he does a good job of like getting in there and finding the numbers that matter. He points out that the UK box launch for Ghost of Yotei is really, really good. It is number one, which means it beat the second week of EA Sports Football Club 26, which is on its own very impressive. And it sold almost 3 times what Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 did on the Switch. Of course, I think most people are going to get the digital version of Super Mario Galaxy 2 there because they probably already have one because that was in Super Mario 3D All-Stars, but whatever. Regardless, it's like, oh, okay. Yotei, which I was like trying to place it. I was trying to like put my finger on it. Be like, what is the excitement level for this? What is the enthusiasm? There's a chance that like this game could come and go. It felt like it's like, no, people have been waiting for exactly this kind of game on their PlayStation 5, which every time it came up, it's like, of course this game's going to do well. People bought an expensive console to play exactly a game like this. Well, that's right. And I think that's a good sign that a game like this can come out and just completely hit a slam dunk in terms of getting people to come out and show up for it. And it sounds like to me what this really is, Jason, is a lot of normies, a lot of people who are just like come to gaming for a big, fun, cinematic experience. They're showing up for this one, which should be Sony's wheelhouse, and it seems like it is. I think this is a good early sign for Yotei. What do you think?
I think it's a great early sign. I think Ghost of Tsushima had more fans that even you or I would have given it credit for. I mean, it was a big hit, but don't get me wrong. But to beat EA Sports FC in the UK is not nothing. That is a huge deal. I'm not surprised about Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 just because of what you said. Half of that package they probably already have. But I am a couple hours into Yotei. I'm actually reviewing it for Restart. So I'm a little late to the game. I didn't get my code till launch day. So I have dug in a little bit, and I can see why, just in those couple of hours, why this game is so successful. It's the sort of, like you said, single player, cinematic adventure, right in line with like how God of War does its thing now and how The Last of Us did its thing over at Naughty Dog. This is PlayStation's wheelhouse. And Sucker Punch has already proved they can do the samurai epic with the first game, and it sounds like they're just doing it again with a different perspective and a different sort of theme in this one. And I am here for it so far. Glad to hear that it does have that success. Maybe it could convince PlayStation that they should just stick to what they know and get all this live service shit out of the pipeline and just stick with it. This one certainly
worked. Those live service games didn't.
Yeah, I'm not saying to completely, abandon lives. If you think you have a really good idea, stick with it. Maybe one or two, not 12. You don't need 12.
Right, exactly. That's it, right? It like back when this initiative of the live service games got announced, it was, don't worry, people who are fans of games like Ghost of Tsushima, the amount of money we're investing in those kinds of games is going to stay steady. We're not dropping that investment to invest in these live service games. We're just taking this money over here and putting it in it's like, okay, yeah, but I think the criticism at the time from people who were really plugged in was, you should be investing more in these first-party, single-player, big, cinematic, narrative games that PlayStation's very good at. And we get that that's difficult. Starting up a studio that can do something like that, very difficult. You can't just pull a Naughty Dog out of thin air. We get that. But there were, studios inside of Sony that were, support studios who were like, hey, maybe we could, grow up to be one of these teams that, helps out with Uncharted, since Naughty Dog's not really doing that anymore. And Sony's like, nah, we're not going to do that. We're going to live service stuff. And I think you're right that maybe the lesson here should have been learned that let's invest even more in these kinds of games, even if we are still going to take maybe half of that money and put it in a couple of live service things as a bet here and there instead of just making it the entire strategy.
Yeah, but another question, you could even do it from a remaster perspective. What's Bluepoint doing right now?
Good point.
What is Bluepoint doing right now?
They were making a live service game that got canceled, right?
They cut their teeth on remakes.
Yep.
The Demon Souls remake that launched with this console was considered one of the better launch titles for this console. Why would you take them off of that and try to just chase this cash cow that doesn't exist? It makes no sense to me. You have an entire library of older titles that have not been around in a while that you could easily resurrect for this current console. Let me put one out there for you. I'm pretty sure this is under Sony Studios. I could be wrong. Correct me in the chat if I am. I think we are well ripe for a remake of Legend of Dragoon. What do you think?
Sure, yeah.
You think that makes sense? Woo. I think that would be great. The way Final Fantasy VII is getting its remake, you put Bluepoint or you put one of those studios on a Legend of Dragoon remake and let people relive that masterpiece. Let's go. I don't understand this. It will never make any sense to me why I get why they want the live service games. Don't get me wrong. It's easy money. But if you can't make the game, stop trying and go with what you know. It's that simple to me. But what do I know? I just come on this show and bitch at you for a couple hours. I don't make these games. I'm not a bean counter. I keep saying that. That's my phrase of the day, apparently. I like it. I just like Medieval. Sir Dan Fortescue needs some attention. Give us Sir Dan. Where is he? I don't know. It seems so simple when you say it out loud. I just don't I don't understand why they haven't pivoted already. I mean, maybe they have with the cancellations they've already done. Maybe they've gone back to the drawing board and they're going to start looking at more single player cinematic games and maybe some multiplayer games that aren't live service, if that's even possible now. Because I'm not saying completely, toss multiplayer aside. Online multiplayer is still very popular, but it's a different kind of popular. You're not going to get a Fortnite anymore in this day and age. You're not going to get a PUBG in this day and age. It's going to have to be a companion mode to a single player game. And this is a bad example because it's older, but like, remember how much people loved the multiplayer of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood?
Sure, yeah.
You remember that? Like something in that strategy, just a companion mode that plays with the mechanics of the game and allows people to play against one another. Fox Hunt in the Metal Gear Solid remake comes to mind as a recent example. There you go. It just seems obvious to me that that's where Sony's strength is, but they continue to chase this golden goose out there in some horizon that they see and we don't. And until they stop it, things like this are going to come as a surprise to them when they shouldn't.
Yeah, you said there can't be another Fortnite, and I definitely agree with that. I'll mention that, and I said this maybe on Friday's show. I've heard a little bit that maybe Fortnite's numbers aren't what they once were, and it's like, let me just ask you: do you think that
I'll tell you what, Power Rangers and K-pop Demon Hunters, the fuck they're not. They are great right now.
This was before K-pop Demon Hunters for sure. But also like that was the point of like Power Rangers. Like someone brought that up when I was talking to them about this, that stuff like that is appealing to older millennials that have a little bit more money than younger people. Like that's the strategy right now. K-pop Demon Hunters globally appealing.
Let me tell you,
for sure.
Let me tell you something. This past season of Fortnite has been, I swear to God, Cass at Epic or whoever it is that's monitoring my socials on Epic Games or at Epic Games, this season has felt targeted to me. You started with Power Rangers, and then you added Gorillas in the Music Pass, and then have you done the Daft Punk experience yet?
I've not, but I've heard great things about it.
Jesus Christ! Even if you're a Daft Punk fan, it is the project of a lifetime. The amount
I love those French robots.
Eggs,
let's do it.
The amount of Easter eggs and bullshit that they pack into this thing is out of this world. They put their own fuser in there.
Yeah.
With all of their music. And you could just fuse. Oh my God, it's fantastic. And then K-pop Demon Hunters comes in while I'm on my nostalgia hit and says, hey, your kids are in it too. Bang, enjoy it.
My kids started Fortnite because of this. So here we are.
Fortnite every day for a week. That Demon Rush with them, I've done a solo run already. I was requested roomie. I'm a Mira fan myself, but I was requested to play as roomie, and that mode's a lot of fun. I really do. I do like it.
My kids were playing one of the fan-made games, a K-pop Demon Hunter Tycoon or something like that, which is I think it's mostly like an idle game. They definitely they were punching a box that was like spurting out money for like 10 minutes straight when I was looking at the TV. So I was like, oh, all right, let's go click on that cookie. But okay, my question was going to be, hey, if like, obviously Fortnite right now hitting it again with K-pop Demon Hunters, but if money was down up until this point, do you think that is a Fortnite problem or a video game people showing up for live service games problem?
I think it might be a Fortnite fatigue problem, and they just found a way to fix it. Again, going back to this past season, yes, they added Power Rangers, but they also incorporated the Power Rangers in a season that basically aped Helldivers. A bunch of bugs showed up, kill the bugs. You're the OXR, you're not the Helldivers. So you just play Helldivers in Fortnite, and then they put the Megazord in there, where the Megazord would actually form in the sky, and you could pilot it and chop, and then just stomp your opponents as the Megazord. And then, so I think it was just a little bit of Fortnite fatigue. I think a couple of seasons weren't that great, and then this one just came in and knocked us all out. And now a bunch of people are playing again. I'd love to see their numbers now. I don't know. It may be a more general live service fatigue as a whole, but I would have to see numbers for and not even just standalone live service games like your PUBGs and stuff like that. I'd have to see the numbers for like MUT, right? Madden Ultimate Team, or games that incorporate live service into the other game.
EA FC just had a problem last quarter. Like EA was reporting on that. It's like that was having issues, and they're like,
and you know what, man, it could just be everything's getting more expensive. You have to cut where you cut, and you cut the subscription to Fortnite Crew, or you cut how much you spend on your on your FUT packs, your football ultimate team packs, because you got to put food on your table. All goes back to that thing you were just ranting about earlier. Maybe it's just becoming, they have to make the choices now, and only the people with a disposable income that seem to be the ones that are catered to in this particular moment, where all the spending's going. Thank you, Matt Piscatella, and yourself for that Blue Sky thread. And the layman, the people who were just playing to have fun, can't afford it, so they're not spending on it. That's it.
Yep, I think so. I think obviously, like, it's an example of people just not having as much money, and the strategy of appealing to people with money can only go so far, because everyone's trying to appeal to them, so their money's being split up as well. All right, we should take a break. We'll be right back. If you want to skip out on these, there's a premium version of the audio show. There's a premium version of the video show. You get that by going to giantbomb.com/join, become a premium member. You can skip the ad. You're not going to want to skip this one, though. We'll be right back.
Grubb, I love podcasts, and I would like to listen to more of them.
Oh boy, I've got the podcast for you then, bud. Stage Select.
But Grubb, I have trust issues, especially with podcasters.
Look, it's always important to be careful and safe about podcasters, but don't worry. Host Julian Titus and Justin Ham have over 16 years of combined podcasting experience, and the Stage Select is finishing up its second season at the end of the year.
Holy smokes, what a pedigree. Tell me more, Grubb.
Oh, what about a video game variety show where the hosts act as if they're performing for a live studio audience?
Kind of like The Muppet Show. Do they have reoccurring characters, shenanigans, bits, and skits?
Oh, baby, we got bits. We got skits.
I love bits and skits. Is there more?
The show is designed to be unexpected, Jan. They'll go to space, sometimes a surprise game show. Expect the unexpected. Space!
Grubb, I'm hearing that episodes 41 and 59 are fantastic points to get a vibe of the show. Julian and Justin are fiercely independent and do this for the love of video games and podcasts?
Oh yeah, they draw from the best, like the Giant Bombcast, Nextlander, Rebel FM, and No One Can Know About This.
Well, Grubb, I'm glad I know about this podcast.
That's Stage Select. Give it a listen.
Bits and skits!
Well, hello there. Just caught me here cleaning my balls. You know, you gotta be neat and tidy when it's golf week. That's right, it's golf week on Giant Bomb. And you can look just as good as Merch Master Mitch with your very own Giant Bomb golf shirt and Giant Bomb golf hat. Golf week, it's not just for us, it's for you. Store.giantbomb.com. What are you waiting for? Golf week only comes when we decide it does randomly. Now, excuse me, I gotta really clean these balls.
Game Mass Mornings, we're back. I'm Jeff Grubb. That's Jason Fanelli.
How do we follow that? How do we follow that?
He like recorded that over the weekend. And he popped it in the chat. We were all very excited. I guess if you're the premium member, you missed out on Mike's golf week ad. Store.giantbomb.com. That's all I'll say. I know you skip on the ads, but there is like you probably want to know. There's golf week merch up, everybody. It's a lot of fun. So Mike's the merch master, but we had to do the embroidery file for the golf week thing, like the little golf ball bomb logo. Yeah. And I like have a program that can do that. I don't really know what I'm doing, so I was like really nervous until we actually got a sample, which is what Mike's wearing. And I was like, oh, it's gonna because a computer has to be told like how to do every stitch for these embroideries. I'm like, oh, wow. I'm sure I did it wrong. I'm sure it's gonna be out of order and look wrong. And it came in and it looked great. Oh, it's such a relief. And hey, it's in the store now. People should go check this out.
Hell yeah!
It looks so good. Mike looks great in that shirt. He says it's super comfortable. The shirt material itself. So
his arms were popping.
He looked great in it, right?
That butter, man.
Yep, churning that butter, cleaning those golf balls. Let's get back into the show, everybody. All right, details emerge on Xbox's canceled Uncharted rival, Project Ranger. This is from Andy Robinson at VGC. A new video has unearthed alleged details on the canceled Xbox exclusive Project Ranger, an Uncharted-style action-adventure game once planned for Xbox One. Project Ranger is said to be the game famously teased via a 30-second trailer during Xbox's E3 2013 press conference and never seen again. I don't remember that at all. But it was being done by Black Tusk Studio, who became the Coalition after Microsoft, after this, acquired the rights to Gears of War in totality from Epic. And then they were like, we need a studio to like kind of take this over. So we're going to take Black Tusk and have them become the Coalition. They're going to work on Gears of War and don't worry about that Project Ranger game anymore. That seems to be the story here. The game, it was like in pre-production. It wasn't very far along, but the idea was, hey, we're going to do one of those. And I know there's like fans of Xbox who have said, hey, you don't have to make every game like the way PlayStation makes a game, but we would like just one. Just try one of those. And they never really have done that. And it's like, oh, it's because stuff like this happened. I at this point, I don't know if like it would have made sense. Like making those games is hard. There's a reason like everyone says, oh, that's a Sony PlayStation kind of game, because they're kind of the only ones out there with institutional knowledge really of how to do one of these in a way that's not going to get a 7 out of 10 from everybody, right. At least the first time around. And I just don't, especially at this time, Jason, it was a time when Microsoft was like, do we even think making video games is worth it? Like if we're going to make a game, we're going to make a game sort of like Destiny that people will just play forever and ever and ever, because we look at the telemetry data and that's what it says people are doing. They're just playing one game forever. So why would we make anything other than one of those games? I'm not surprised that we didn't get this. This happened more than a decade ago. I guess maybe part of me is like, hey, okay, when Game Pass was really taking off and you were acquiring all these studios, I guess maybe I'm a little surprised they didn't get around to like just trying one of these again. Although I suppose maybe Indiana Jones and the Great Circle's close-ish. It's first person, not exactly right, but it's close-ish. I don't know. What do you make of all this?
Well, I think that pivoting to Gears of War makes a lot of sense, because that was the right move. Because is this Judgment time or is this around 4 time? 3 had come out in 2010, so I guess we're still in the Judgment.
Yeah, this
perhaps
was probably right around Judgment time. Yeah, maybe.
But this is also the time, you may recall, that LucasArts canceled 1313, and that was a much ballyhooed cancellation for an adventure style game just in the Star Wars universe. So they might have seen that and been like, oh shit, if they can't make Star Wars work in this format, maybe we should do something here. And honestly, it worked. Gears 4 and 5, depending on who you ask, were good enough for the Coalition to take over them. Gears Tactics, I think, is in there somewhere too. So that game has a lot of very, very loyal fans. So they got 3 games out of it. The pivot made sense. I would like to see more original IP or original ideas from these companies, but they're just not profitable anymore. It's just all your original ideas are coming from indies, as we said earlier. It's just how it's going to be. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen a little more of this. I have to go back and remind myself of this 30-second trailer.
Yeah, I don't remember it at all.
I don't remember it all. The only thing I remember from that E3 2013 press conference is that's when Killer Instinct reemerged, and I'm a fighting game fiend, so seeing them again was really neat. And then that's not true. The PlayStation one was the one where I think they did how to lend your games to friends.
Yep. I was in the room for both of those. That's my first E3.
That was the only E3 I missed between 2010 and 2019. Wow. The day the show floor opened, my sister graduated high school, so of course. Yeah. So I watched it from home that one year. But yeah, sure, why not? It if they ever want to go back to it, maybe the files are in some vault somewhere and they can up-res it to whatever their new console is going to be called, the ROG Series Ally X, whatever the fuck it is, who knows. Again, this just goes right back to, have they ever been the company we thought they were? Like, this is before even backwards compatibility got a standing ovation at E3, right?
Yeah.
That was like 2015, 2016. Yeah,
this was like maybe still Don Matrick? Don Matrick in charge of Xbox?
Don Matrick did all the Xbox One stuff. So this would be the last year of Don Matrick, or maybe 1 or 2 years of Don Matrick before he went to Zynga. So that's the kind of company we're dealing with at the moment. And we thought Phil Spencer was going to be the steward of a new era, and he was for a little bit. And then all of a sudden, we're back where we are now. I don't think original ideas like this are going to come out ever again for Xbox, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, the Coalition was working on some other non-Gears projects here in the past few years, and then they canceled those because they're like, actually, no, we're going to go back to the next Gears.
Yeah. I mean, why stop doing what you already know.
Yep.
Maybe they learn some things from those other canceled projects that they will adapt to E-Day to make it feel a little more fresh. That would be great. But yeah, it's just going to be IPs from here on out, I think. You're never going to see a Scalebound style project from them ever again.
Nope.
Not from Microsoft.
Nintendo issues surprise denial to Japanese politicians' AI claim. This is from Andy Robinson at VGC. Shouts out to VGC. Nintendo has denied reports that it's lobbying against the use of generative AI in its home country of Japan. On Saturday, Satoshi Asano, a politician and member of Japan's House of Representatives, posted on social media that Nintendo was avoiding using generative AI to protect its IP and also engaging in lobbying activities with the government. The claim sparked Nintendo into the unprecedented step of publishing a formal denial. Contrary to recent discussions on the internet, Nintendo has not had any contact with the Japanese government about generative AI, the company said. Whether generative AI is involved or not, we will continue to take necessary actions against infringement of our intellectual property rights. So maybe what they're trying to say is we did go to the government about IP stuff and it maybe involved AI, but we're not trying to stop AI necessarily. I mean, Nintendo said that we're not using generative AI because we think that there's magic in the way we make games and stuff like that. I bet they are still investigating AI like processes to see if they can help them save money. Nintendo loves to save money. But I bet they're also rightfully skeptical. Someone pointed out, like, I think it's Google whose big thing now is AI, and I think they're doing they have the Sora thing, which is the video creation tool. That is, I see the stuff. It's like, oh yeah, I can't believe anything I see on the internet anymore at all, for sure. Yep. Even they who have this tool, when they have to go do a brand campaign to like win hearts and minds, they pay millions of dollars to an ad agency, a marketing firm, to hire real artists and real people who really know what they're doing to come up with a compelling thing. They're not just going into Gemini and saying, hey, Gemini, how do we get people to like Google more? And then following that step for step. No, they're paying millions of dollars to experts to actually do that. So I bet Nintendo looks around and understands that the people with the money who are trying to get you to use AI are not necessarily the ones also using AI themselves when it comes down when the like brass tacks. But I bet they still think we're not necessarily against this. We're just for us making money in the best way possible. And right now, we still think that probably doesn't involve AI much. But I don't know. It's weird that they came out and said anything. But I guess if they were like, we don't want to be drawn into this, I guess that's probably why they said something. What do you think?
Yeah, it is weird for them to deny that they were lobbying against it. If they genuinely not had that conversation yet, they have to come out and say, hey, we're protecting our IP. We haven't even talked about AI yet. I don't know how ubiquitous generative AI is in Japan, right? It's clearly here. It's all over the fucking place. It's in commercials, for Christ's sake, at this point. But I don't know how Japan has taken to this technology yet, or if they see it as the bullshit that it is. I do like, it is refreshing to see the politician come out and retract his claim and apologize, saying he deeply regrets his own failure to verify the facts adequately. Ain't that a breath of fresh air? But I don't know. I think when it comes to Nintendo and generative AI, even if they were curious about putting it into a game, they have to see the backlash.
Yeah.
Whenever anybody tries to use it for anything, they have to see what people are saying as soon as they are able to identify it. And they also know that the thing that keeps the lights on in Nintendo is the image of their characters. Maybe not the company themselves, but the image of their characters. And if you start infecting Mario and Zelda and Star Fox, well, whatever. I mean, make anything Star Fox at this point. But if you start infecting these much loved characters, long loved characters with generative AI that people can see through, that will be an absolute non-starter. It will be a PR nightmare, and I think they're smart enough to realize that. So, at this point, their strategy seems just to be ignoring it, which, sure, that's what we should all. It'll just go away. I can't say I disagree with it.
Yeah, I think that Nintendo's probably just right. Well, they're so specific and particular about their characters and stuff like that. Everything has to be like directly on model. And they just wouldn't want to, like, for generative AI to show up in one of their games. I think right now they'd be like, well, if we could just tell a computer what to do, how does that make it Nintendo special? And I think they really do take that seriously.
Yeah.
It's been their mantra for a long time now, and whether or not that they've fully delivered on that with every game, sure, that could be debated, but I believe that they think that's important. We'll see how that like shakes out long term. If it could save them money and it doesn't get in the way or doesn't have a backlash associated with it, they can kind of do some stuff in the background. They'll do it, but maybe we're not there yet. Redemption Road indefinitely delays Kingmakers. This is from Sophie McAvoy at gamesindustry.biz. Kingmakers is that game where you're a guy with a machine gun and a pickup truck, and you go back to medieval times, and you're driving around taking on armies of knights and soldiers and things like that.
I understand it's a spiritual successor to One Darkest of Days.
Yes, exactly right. It's basically the same thing. Redemption Road Games' upcoming title, Kingmakers, which was set for release on October 8th. That's 2 days from now. Let's see here. Has been indefinitely delayed. The developer shared the news on social media, citing that it needs a bit more time on content polish before we feel good about charging money for it. It's an incredibly ambitious, uncompromising game, and we don't want to cut any planned features for the sake of getting it out the door earlier, it wrote. Our goal from the start has been to create something that's nothing like anything else we've seen on the market in terms of gameplay, scale, scope, and interactivity. It continued with Kingmakers. We set out to push the Unreal Engine 4 codebase to its absolute limits while still providing true 60 frames per second to mid-range PCs without the need for fake frames. We are an 88% engineering team who got into this to push technological barriers. We're making sure everyone who buys the game is enthralled and feels like their money was well spent. We want this to be the case whether you have a top-of-the-line rig or PC that's seen better days. So it sounds like a couple things. Sounds like they want to polish up the content, like actually like make the game playing experience better. And also it sounds like maybe there's probably some performance issues and they want to make sure the game is going to run well. And I think it's admirable to, like, at the last minute delay your game if it's not there, because it's also probably the right move, especially right now, because the games that are having issues have been mostly like big AAA games, like the biggest games on Unreal Engine 5. Borderlands 4 has had a one problem after another with its performance. And then on the indie side of things, we're getting all kinds of stuff that is not just like running well, but extremely polished and full of content, like Silk Song and Hades 2, which are just enormous games that run great, look great, and just like, I don't know, they're just chock full of a million things to do. Even like, I guess Kingmakers maybe borders on a meme game, a streamer game sort of thing. It's like, oh, it's a funny, go out there and take on hordes of enemies in a pickup truck. That's weird. Even the meme games like Baby Steps, like that's a really solid and well-made game that performs really well on a Steam Deck. And also does have quite a bit to do. It's like, God, the competition from the indie side of things has really stepped up its game. So if you come out and like, oh, it doesn't run well, or I don't know, it's just not quite there in terms of how much fun it is to play, you'll probably get left in the dust really fast. So it's like, if you believe in your game, this is probably the right move, right?
Yeah, just real quick, I saw your eye twitching when you said Baby Steps there. A little bit
I got past the man breaker, and now I just got to beat the train, which I'll do on stream at some point this week, everybody.
I do admire that they did this because I think, especially in the indie scene, as you mentioned, the tolerance level for a lack of solid performance is very low from an indie perspective and a brand new IP perspective if you want to make it a little bigger. Borderlands 4 is having issues, but the Borderlands faithful will get through them so that when it's patched, it's the experience they want. Even Silk Song and Hades, they're sequels. So people who are familiar with those games, they will give them the benefit of the doubt until they get to where they need to be. This is a brand new game from a studio that's never made a game like it before. And if they want to take extra time to make it, they have to realize this. They're only going to get one shot at a first impression, even if it's launching in early access, and you can lean on the, hey, we're in early access. If it still plays like shit, people aren't going to, the early access just kind of gets lost in the shuffle now, I feel like. You launch when you launch. If early access is a designation that I think a lot of people tend to ignore unless they're really into the game or the development process or what have you, right? So for them to do this and make it an indefinite delay so they can iron out whatever needs to be ironed out, is admirable. But at the same time, they're saying things here that kind of like the word incredibly ambitious, uncompromising game. Those phrases alone, everybody says that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like that's you want to make something that's nothing like anything else on the market in terms of gameplay, scale, scope, and interactivity. What else does a game have? Gameplay, scale, scope, interactivity, for good, fresh looks. Like I mean,
button pressing.
But press it, yeah. Who wanted to press the button like you've never pressed the button before? Exactly. I don't know. I'm one of two minds about this. One, I appreciate the candor and the fact that they want to iron some stuff out before players get their hands on it. Maybe some more internal testing, maybe some internal like mock testing or whatever you would call it to boot. I think that makes a lot of sense. But how bad is it, right? That they can't even lean on the early access label, as useless as it may be. That they don't want to put anything out at all. That is a bit of a situation. But yes, it is a meme game. Yes, it is a stream game, and I plan to meme the shit out of it because it seems so damn funny. Just a great concept that they have, and I am looking forward to it whenever it happens. Now, if it happens, and I'm not saying that as if I think they're going to straight up cancel it. I'm just saying that as in, how long is it going to take them to iron this stuff out, and will the ship have sailed by then? If they can't iron this out by May of 2026, for example, maybe we don't see it till 2027 because there's a big Grand Theft Auto size monster sitting that is always there in the horizon for any studio. They have to be cognizant of it.
It's worth pointing out before we move on. This was Kingmakers was that game that were one of the many games, but one of the game that got a movie adaptation announced, which is crazy. But it's, a movie adaptation. There was like a Reddit post a long time ago about a guy who's wrote like a kind of a story treatment about a group of soldiers, modern day soldiers, getting sent back in time to like take on the Roman military or something like that. I think there's like appetite for something like this in Hollywood, but I think that's like part of this is, hey, we have a multimedia strategy. Like the game has to be as good as it possibly can be when we finally put it out, so that the next step of this thing can still happen and people feel good about it. Because if a game comes out and no one cares, then the movie probably gets canceled, and that's even more money out of these people's pockets.
Yep. It's an isekai. It's an isekai. That's exactly what it is.
Absolutely. Time travel isekai, but isekai. Yep. Red Dead Redemption 2's PS5, Xbox Series, and Switch 2 versions are still happening. It's claimed. Headline is the story. Need the hate. Kind of reconfirm this. I believe it because Red Dead Redemption 2 on PS4 and Xbox One, and now those versions running on the new consoles are all locked to 30 frames per second, I believe. Okay. And so, okay, well, that's like an instant sort of thing where it's like you put that thing back out. An updated version or whatever, it's going to start selling again on those old consoles. And then if you get it running on Switch 2, which it should be able to run up fine on Switch 2 now, 2018 game on Switch 2 with like a little bit of DLSS help, that thing maybe 30 frames per second, but it could be higher on the Switch 2. I don't know. It's like, that sounds about right. I believe this is happening. How about you?
Yeah, I think this is a no-brainer. Honestly, to not only to have an updated version on current consoles, but to put it on Switch 2 as well. I feel like anything, if you're doing an upgraded version from a PS4 game, the Switch 2 port just kind of happens naturally at this point because of the DLSS features and things.
It's almost maybe the reason to do it, and then the other consoles get the benefit, right? Of like, we're going to go back and do work on it. Yeah.
Do the Switch 2 work and then that makes sense too. Yeah, I think this is a no-brainer. It was one of the most ballyhooed games ever, right? It's definitely of last generation. So to give the current players the ability to play it and to put it on Switch 2 for a brand new audience for the Nintendo only crowd. I loved it. I don't finish many long-winded games like that, and I played this 2 credits. So, and even post-credits. I did all the post-credit stuff afterwards. So yeah, I'd play it again when I had time. I think it's absolutely worth one of the games. If I were to make a list of games to be ported to Switch 2, let alone the other consoles, it would be at the top, if not at the very top of that list. It makes the most sense. I don't know what else would be on there. We could talk about that later. But this seems like a no-brainer. Now the question then becomes when do you announce this? Is this a Keighley Fest announcement? Is this a Nintendo Direct? Not that you're getting one of those for the rest of the year, unless you do another partner thing. Is that do you wait for something like that? Do you shadow drop it? You know what I mean? Like those are the kind of questions I have more than is it happening, because I think it is.
Yep. Yep, I'm with you. Let's keep going here. Silent Hill 2 may be coming to Switch 2 as its exclusivity window ends. For some reason, that was hard to say. This is from Ollie Reynolds at Nintendo Life. Again, headline kind of the story, but idea here is like, hey, that Silent Hill 2 was that locked to PlayStation? It was PS5 and PC for 1 year, and so it's like it could be coming to Xbox Series X and S. But I think the more likely scenario is, that could easily come to Switch 2. That's a even more recent game. Maybe some problems porting it, but I don't think so because it just seems like something Konami would want to get done, and maybe they could figure it out. And I bet they'd be able to do it. I could see that on Switch 2. I think honestly, a lot of these spooky games, I think there's an audience of people who show up for like your Marios and Zeldas on Nintendo systems for sure, but there is an audience that just likes playing games on their Nintendo hardware, and they hear about these games on other platforms, and when they finally come to Switch, they occasionally get rewarded. Not always. Some certainly just miss the mark completely, but this feels like the one that would be in the wheelhouse of that audience. What do you think?
I agree, and as this article continues, they've already kind of bridged the gap. Has Bloober Team, because Chronos, the brand new game,
really good point,
is on Switch too. So I feel like they may have gone about this the right way. You put the original IP on there first, test out the Switch 2 hardware and environment, see what you can get away with, what you can, and then put Silent Hill 2 in that format, however you can do it. But yes, I think this is another one that I think has a very good chance of being ported because, like you said, the appetite is there. It is the perfect kind of game to play handheld, lights off around this time of year. It is spooky season, so I feel like there are Nintendo players that will get like the old blanket over your head while you're playing it. Yeah, that seems like something they might want to do. It's a year, this week, the 8th, you said. So this Wednesday, it'll be the 8th. Not guarantee, but I'm pretty certain you'll hear about the Xbox and Switch 2 ports that day, if not the next day. Whatever the contracting allows it. I don't know if it'll come out exactly a year after. That doesn't seem like a shadow drop to me. They might want to put a little time in between announcement and port. But maybe by the holidays. If not, maybe very beginning of 2026, I think you'll see it.
Yeah, that would hit hard. I think that would go do very well if they if they could shadow drop it this October. That'd
be sweet.
I think it may be very successful. But you're right; they probably do want to give it a little bit of time, announce it, do some marketing. We'll see.
Yeah.
Last story here: Digital Foundry delivers a technical breakdown of Switch 2's DLSS. Basically, there's two versions of DLSS on the Switch 2. But it's used in quite a few games. So it's like if a game is running well on the Switch 2, it probably has to, a big part of it is DLSS. And I think it's worth pointing out that I think we gave some shit to Randy when he was like, hey, Borderlands 4 was a game made for DLSS, so you should use it. And the reason that is fair to give him shit for that is not everyone has DLSS on their PC and definitely not on their consoles unless it's a Switch 2. So building your game for that tech when it's going to be running on all these different pieces of hardware is bad. It's not like it is. It should be the sugar on top. It should not be a core part of how you are building your game to run on people's hardware. Unless that's the Switch 2, in which case everyone's going to have DLSS. And also it has these two models, the one where it's like kind of a heavy DLSS that can that's pretty good for moving a resolution from like 540p up to 1080p, which is what something like Street Fighter uses. Street Fighter 6 uses that, and Street Fighter 6 looks phenomenal. It's actually sometimes running at like 360p, but you just can't tell because the DLSS is very good and does a really good job with like smoothing out the edges. Remember, I got a little bit of shit myself a little bit when I was like, why does Street Fighter 5 look so sharp on the Switch compared to like the PlayStation versions? And it's like, well, here it's this or this. And it's like, nope, it was the DLSS, just like I was saying. It's like that's just that technology was that good for that game. There's this other DLSS that is a little bit more lightweight, but enables games to go up to a much higher resolution, but you get a little bit more of the jaggy edges, a little bit worse anti-aliasing and stuff like that. But that's what Star Wars Outlaws uses. So it's like, okay, developers have these options, and it's why we're seeing like a bunch of varying degrees of quality from these games, but also it's why it does feel like developers are usually able to get us something that runs well on Switch 2 because they have a bunch of tools in the toolbox to turn to. And I don't know, it feels like I would give credit to Nintendo, but this definitely feels like NVIDIA just like working extra hard to make sure that was a really good SDK for developers to get the most out of this hardware on the Switch 2. I've been mostly happy with this hardware so far. How about you, Jason?
Yeah, everything I've played that came from other consoles or that was ported over, I feel like has performed very well. I am very happy with my Switch 2 purchase, day one purchase so far. Granted, a lot of that has been playing first-party games. Donkey Kong and Mario Kart are dominate that time. I'm not going to lie, but Hades 2 runs fantastic. Street Fighter 6 runs fantastically. The little bit I played of Cyberpunk on Switch 2 played great. I have no complaints so far. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the game to disappoint me, which is a weird thing to say. But like so far, and we've said this time and time again, all the talk around Switch 2's hardware has been positive, not only from the player side, but from the dev side too. And I think that is a good barometer of where it's going. Now, whether it can keep up in year 2 and year 3, especially when these new generation of PlayStation and Xbox consoles, whenever they happen, arrive, remains to be seen. But at least I would think until 2027, they're in a decent spot. I hope, I don't know if there's going to be ways that they can update the firmware and make it even more efficient. I'm not sure about that. I doubt it. But for now, I think they're in a pretty good place. Yeah, I'm happy with it so far. I don't know if we're going to still talk about that, but I have some breaking news.
Please.
It broke 5 minutes before we started here. Funcom is laying off some staffers today, including the entirety of the studio, The Outsiders, created by David Goldfarb, made Metal Hellsinger.
Oh, right, yeah.
That studio is closed. David Goldfarb himself put on Blue Sky, "Friends, I have not had much time to process the news, but all of us at The Outsiders and Funcom Stockholm have been affected by the layoffs at Funcom, and our 10-year-old studio will be closing. Many of us had survived a near-death studio experience years back when Darkborn was canceled, and because of this team's loyalty and refusal to quit, Metal Hellsinger was born. It will always be a high point for me personally, and I will forever be grateful we got to make it, and for the wonderful team and partnerships that made it happen." He says that things don't only go the way you hope. We're going to try and continue on in some new form. If you think you can help in any way, business leads, placement for employees, guidance, I would be generally grateful if you reach out. Change is tough. Right now, we're all hurting. Thanks so much. So another good one. Metal Hellsinger was a great little idea.
I like David. Yeah, he's a cool guy.
And what pulled me in was the fact they had original music by one Serge Tankian, I never say it, of System of a Down.
Yep.
But yeah, that game ripped. It was such a good idea. A rhythm shooter, heavy metal, it's checking a lot of boxes for me. So to see that they're being rewarded by the studio closing, just another sign of the times, man.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks for catching that. We should wrap up this show here, though. So let's do a few things. No poll question from last week. We did do the Bomb 12. I'll get a blog post up today that has the results, but we talked about it last week. There will be a new form link at the bottom of that blog post, so you could submit your game for the Bomb 12 this week. Looking forward to seeing how we wrap up and see what's going to make the list as we get to Friday. Let's see here. New poll question. When was the last time you used a plastic instrument controller, like for Rock Band? This month, this year, within the last 2 years, or 3 years, or more. The Rock Band is getting delisted because a lot of the songs that they had are losing their licenses because they went about 10 years. So kind of interested to see what people are doing with those controllers. All right. Jason Fanelli, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talk about video games, man. I really appreciate it.
Yes, anytime. You know where to find me on socials. Come chat. I'm going to be talking about MagicCon soon. Have a nice little op-ed going about the way that they're approaching things now. And I genuinely am not sure how it's going to be taken. So we'll see about that.
I want to see it. A couple more things here. Andrew Morton says, "Hell yeah, love the anger" from earlier when I was doing my Jason Fanelli impression. Super chat from Burrito says, "Our boy Mike looks great in green." Talking about the Golf Week shirt, everybody. Store.giantbomb.com. Go check that out. You want to see the pictures of Mike at the golf course as well. And the best way to see those images is just to go to store.giantbomb.com. It is Golf Week. We're going to have lots of golf games all throughout the week. Later on in the week, we're going to have a kind of competition across a couple of days where we try to have a we're going to keep track of our strokes across multiple games. So look out for that. Today, Mike's going to be playing Pebble Beach, which uses the same engine that was used for Virtual Highlight. That'll be during Monday morning's Miss with Mitch.
Interesting.
Yeah, we're just going to have a bunch of stuff. I think tomorrow morning I'll play some Kirby's Dream Course. Maybe I'll see if someone else is available to hop in there with me and play competitive. But yeah, hang out with us for Golf Week. We're looking forward to it. One last thing, I believe today over at Kind of Funny, for Kind of Funny Games Daily, it's their 2000th episode.
Oh, wow.
Go give them some love. I love that show. It definitely obviously inspired this show. They're great guys over there, and they're kind of doing a big celebration. So go check that out. I believe it, October 6th. I think that was the date they said. So go check that out. I think they do it at 1 p.m. Eastern. That'd be 10 a.m. Pacific time. And then come back over here, and we'll do some Pebble Beach after that. All right, one more time. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. You are the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.